Zillow execs imagine a world without a buyer's agency. I don't think so. I'm going to say that right. Yeah, of course they do. They're like, we don't need buyer agents. We have us. If buyer's agency does disappear, Zillow is considering models where one or two large portals offer pay-to-play inclusion on a digital listing marketplace. Okay, guys, let's go after them. Go.
Jeez. All right, so Rich Barton, a very sly way of basically getting in there and saying, hey, well, we're not hoping that this happens, but luckily we have this platform that is just, suited for exactly what's happening.
We just so happen to have this little thing.
But this is what he went on and said. So from where we stand, it seems clear that these principles are in the best interest of movers and consumers, agents, and the industry as a whole. We expect the industry changes resulting from this lawsuit or ones like it involve commission transparency and negotiability provisions similar to those in several of the settlements in the plaintiffs entered with other real estate franchisors in advance of the trial.
So here's the thing. They don't mind disruption. They exist on disruption, and that is kind of the formula for them. Now, the thing about eliminating buyer's agents for me is somewhat improbable. Not everyone has become comfortable with buying a house through the internet. We are comfortable with looking at houses through the internet. Yeah. But I will advocate, even at the front end of this topic, how many of our friends that invest in real estate do not buy sight unseen?
Yeah. None.
I need to go see it.
No,
you can show me all the pictures in the world. What's behind that wall?
And if
what's
they
underneath
don't,
that bush?
Yeah. And here's the thing: if I'm an investor and I'm buying a house in another state, somebody's looking at that.
You got walkers to go look at it. Yeah.
You need to know what it's looking like. You're not just going to buy a free and click. Like, oh yeah, take it.
You know what's crazy, guys? Like thinking about when I first got in this industry back in 2005, Zillow was a data source place.
Yeah.
It was just data. It was just data. And then all of a sudden they came like, hey, let's send you leads. Like we'll put your listings out there and buyers will call us and then you're going to pay for zip codes and then we'll send you the buyers.
How'd that play
And
out?
then they started now, hey, we're going to get into real estate. We're going to go ahead and buy homes. There was a time in Pasadena, one of my clients bought the home. They bought it for 1.2 and a half. And then when I look at, public records, you see the last sale date, it was for 1.4 and change.
Wow.
So they lost money, and then they had to renovate it and stuff. So I know they had to lose. I want to say it was about $200,000, which I was scratching my head like, how does that happen?
Yeah.
Right. So that's just to tell you, fintech companies, they thought their algorithms on finding values and all that was so great that's why in 2021, I want to say, don't quote me, but you can Google this. But in 2021 is when they stopped doing the whole iBuying.
Yeah, it was 21 or 22, one of those years where they actually said, oh, we're out of iBuying. It didn't really work out the way they wanted it to.
They lost their butts off.
Yeah.
So here he goes again. Now, I was saying earlier how they're doubling down and just saying, hey, now we're going to go and get market share.
Well, and this
That's
conversation,
what I'm looking at us.
This conversation came up because of the lawsuit, and they spent like part of their quarterly earnings call talking about this, what they call the elephant in the room, with these lawsuits that are coming out regarding buyer commissions. But they're trying to insert themselves in the conversation more so because they're any company that has a loss on one side, you're trying to make that up on some other way. I do believe that they think they're in the prime position to do that. Yeah. But again, they are heavily reliant on MLS feeding them API data straight to their platform.
Yeah,
so if they're gonna say, oh yeah, well we're totally behind this whole buyer commission thing and these agents and all these brokerages keeping the commission structure high on sellers and buyers. They're literally going to go, okay, well, we're going to have a pay to play. You know who does that too? AutoTrader. And it's not because I hate AutoTrader. AutoTrader is a great service. You have to pay AutoTrader to list your car on AutoTrader. Yeah. So guess what? You're not going to just get a listing for free because nothing is going to be done for free with any of these big fintech companies. It is a long play for sure. And I think that, I don't know that everyone's going to follow right away. I really don't think they will because for people... Take a step back. Most people, their home is the largest asset they own. Yeah. Their monthly payment is their biggest monthly payment they have. And the tax benefit from their monthly payment is their largest tax relief for most people, non-business owners, the exception, right? So I don't know that people are going to follow. Do you think people are going to just follow Zillow in this direction and go, yeah, I'm going to have a buyer agent free transaction? Do you think they're going to do that?
I think Zillow's trying to position themselves as the Robin Hood MLS for the people and say, hey, yeah, we're free and clear. You guys could come and basically use our platform because they believe in, having everything more accessible to everybody. But then at the same time, how do you run a business if you're a business? But
what happens when MLS just says, okay, fine, shut off. We're not going to give you data anymore. What's going to happen?
They'll be non-existent.
But
right.
so
here's where
we're making them strong.
But then at the same time, we stop paying them, they start giving us. So it's kind of like we're both in bed.
Yeah, but that's the thing. Is that MLS and all these other they're allowing that access to be they're allowing all that data to be accessed so that it can be promoted and marketed. It's one of the advantages of having an MLS is you can have your property managed in all these other places. That's great. However, it's also the same thing. That's the funnel feeding that same system. So I'm not saying I have a perfect solution for this. I'm just saying that being the problem, it is not going to be an easy solution. It's going to be a long play. It's going to take a long time. I don't think people are going to follow suit very quickly because they're slow to change. Like we saw in an earlier article, the industry is impervious to change, and when they do change, it's usually very slow.
Yeah, and here it is, guys. They just appealed that. Keller Williams and NAR, they just said, we're going to appeal this. This is crazy. I'm just wondering why others aren't joining the fight with them.
It's very curious, isn't it? I wonder why.
Don't raise my hand. Don't look at me. Don't ask, don't tell. I don't want no.
Yeah, we need Poppy Buffett out there, Poppy Buffett goes in there.
I think there's a level of that where it's like, if you see a bunch of people scrapping on the side, like if I don't need to get in there and get scratched, I'm not going to. But if I need to get in a dogfight, okay, let's go in a dogfight. I think some people were acting that way right now.
But not realizing that's going to have a long-term effect.
Of course it will. Of course it will. Unless, and this is going to be conspiratorial, but unless they are already getting some sort of benefit from the outcome of this down the line sometime soon.
Who knows?
And that's just not known at this point. It's not public. Yeah, possibly.
Yeah.
But so back on the whole Zillow thing though, like this, they actually mentioned this on their call. They're talking about they're focusing on delivering a housing super app, a tech-enabled end-to-end platform with products and services that make it easier for people to move. Well, yeah, okay, that's super cool for them. But again, will people do this? Like, I don't know. I mean, developing a housing super app is very vague.
Yeah.
I don't think that you're going to see the expiration of independent mortgage brokers. I don't think you're going to see the expiration of local realtors. You rely on local expertise, especially if you're coming from somewhere else outside. People that PCS here to San Diego, and I can just use that as an example in our own backyard. They rely on people that have lived here, that know the area, that know the ins and outs, the best neighborhoods to live in, the best schools. They rely on that data when making a choice to where to live. You don't just move to San Diego from Virginia and buy a house because you saw it on your phone. You have to do other things, especially when you have a family, and I think that's going to carry a lot of weight in this moving forward.
That's crazy. They're going to have a drone pick up all your furniture from Virginia just in one.
You're going to have a drone.
Bring it back over here, and then they're going to stage your home with your furniture.
It's like
you're probably going to have to go and have an app and look and see each room how you're going to place your bed. And I don't know.
Maybe it's
cool
Alexa,
like that.
You're going to open the door. Alexa's going to be like, hey, welcome to your house.
Yeah.
What features would you like to know about this property?
It's
going for this much bedrooms.
I just came up with an idea.
Would you like to send out an offer now?
It's like at the arcade, the little crane game. You just move the crane to your house, to pick up your house and move it across country and drop it.
And then you're going to have iRobots. Will Smith, iRobots. You guys watch that movie?
Yeah.
They'll move everything in. So who knows? I don't know.
I don't think that. I mean, look, I understand from a business perspective. Yeah, Zillow's going to make a move. Of course, they're going to envision a future without buyers agents. I don't know that consumers are going to envision a future that way, because I can look at other industries too, and I go, you know what? Yes, there might be some better technological solutions for certain things, such as tax preparation, trust and estate. Not everybody goes to LegalZoom to do their trust. They just don't. You know why? Because there's still a lot of trust attorneys around, and they still pumping them out of law school, and they're still starting their career, and we're actually going to have some come on our show in this quarter for the new year. So, I know that is not always the mass doesn't always go in the same direction that tech does.
Here's a crazy thing. When COVID happened, everybody was isolated. You got to stay at home, and people thought that was pretty cool, until it wasn't. And then next thing you know, it's like, oh no, I want to do everything. Remember, we couldn't go to the toilet just without taking a call. It was crazy.
Every 2 seconds.
Going.
Horribly great.
And then everybody's like, please just email me. Please just email. I'd rather do everything email. Prior to that was a face-to-face, that's how I like to work, right? Like I want to put a face to the name, kind of get along, see where we're at, see if we're going to be that good fit and how I can help them more, et cetera. And we started getting away from them. Started in, towards the end of 2022, I felt like I had atrophy, like when you break your arm and it takes a while before it kind of gets together.
Yeah.
I felt like that was how I was communicating when I would see people. It felt like relationship atrophy, like, atrophy, like we're starting to forget about that.
Yeah.
And now you're starting to see people coming back and wanting that face-to-face. Like, I got to see that now.
Yep.
That reassurance.
That reassurance.
Yep.
So,
100%.
and I'm glad that, we're kind of going back to the Leave It to Beaver age, I miss those days.
Bit. Yeah, I think people have that sentimentality about themselves too, and they just want to experience things the way they still like to, and we are seeing more people come in because of that.
Oh yeah.
So.
Oh yeah. I love seeing the office. Everybody here.
Yeah.
You know, when it was just me, myself, and my shadow.
Yeah.
But that's the way it had to be, right? Because otherwise, there was like.
That's the way it was.
Peace patrol out there, just arresting you. What are you doing out here?
Being a human.
Yeah.
So,